Greetings and salutations. Les Butler here, live with Les tonight. Hope you're having a great start to your week. Hope you've had wonderful things happen since we were last together. We got lots going on tonight. Got a special guest. Might get a special call in later in the program as well. And got some vinyl we're going to play tonight. Oh, yeah, vinyl. That means it's going to sound really good. And it's going to be real Southern gospel music. But we do have some things to get out of the way, like I always do here at the beginning of the program tonight. One thing I'd like for you to do before I really start giving you some of our sponsors and some of the things that we need to do before we get into the meat and potatoes and what you're really here for, would you hit the share button? I sure would appreciate that. Hit the share button so people will know that it's on and that there's going to be some great gospel music. This is Les Butler, Live with Les, Southern gospel music, memorabilia, memories, and ministry. And we're going to give you a big old dose of all of it tonight. So whatever you do, hit the share button and get others to join us. Would you do that? All right. So let me tell you about this right here. You need to, if you're within 1,000 miles of Fayetteville, Tennessee, coming up in a few days, July 7th, 8th, and 9th, within a few miles, that means you can walk to it. If you're within 1,000 miles, you can walk to it right there. You need to go to Shadow Valley. And you want to know why you need to go to Shadow Valley? Well, I'll just tell you why. I'll give you a whole bunch of reasons. For example, the Kingsman, that's a great reason to go to Shadow Valley. High Road, Gold City, Josh and Ashley Franks. That's a good reason just to go for Thursday because that's who's going to be there on Thursday. Now, how about Friday? Chuck Wagon Gang, Inspirations, Mark Trammell Quartet, Steel City Revival. I'm talking about real Southern gospel music, boys and girls. And then Saturday, July 9th, Primitive Quartet, Singing Ambassadors, Bradley Walker, some real country gospel there, and the Blackwood Brothers. This is all real legit stuff. And it's going to be at Shadow Valley there at Fayetteville, Tennessee. This is July 7th, 8th, and 9th. And so here's where you need to go for more information and do it. And if all goes well, I'll see you there on Friday. And might even be doing some live broadcasting there on the Real Southern Gospel Radio Network. You need to go to shadowvalleyproductions.com, shadowvalleyproductions.com. Now go and do it. I'm telling you, you'll be kicking yourself if you don't. Now, all of our shows are always brought to you by these folks right here, sold by mkhome.com. So if you're buying or selling a home literally anywhere in the U.S. of A., they can help you to buy or to sell your home. Now, if you're not ready to buy or sell a home, they can't help you. But if you are, they can. And if they are supporting this great Southern gospel music the way they are with their prayers and their emotional support, and yes, even their billfold, why wouldn't you want to at least call them and talk to them? Great people. Isaac works for me here at the radio station. Isaac Hughes and his mother, Mary Catherine, a realtor. They're both a real estate team. So there you go. What you need to do is you need to go to soldbymkhome.com or call 615-788-1932. It's there on your screen, 615-788-1932, and give them a call and talk to them, okay? All right, now, if things come up that I want you to be aware of, and then we're going to be going to one of our guests for tonight. Maybe our only guest, not sure, but I think I'm going to be able to sneak in two, and it's really all kind of tied together. But don't forget to go to realsoutherngospel.com, and if you would be so kind, if you haven't done so already, now a bunch of people have. A bunch of people have that mug right there. Not my mug, the coffee mug. Live with Les coffee mug and Real Southern Gospel coffee mug. Go to realsoutherngospel.com, click on the store, or you can get yourself a Make Real Southern Gospel Great Again t-shirt, red or white, or red or white or red. Okay? So that's at the store. So please consider doing that. Hey, coming up this weekend, Lisa Williamson is going to be our very, very special guest DJ on Real Southern Gospel Radio. Man, I'm telling you, she's knocking it out of the park. You cannot miss this. Do not miss this. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, starting at 9 a.m. and going through midnight Sunday, she will be our very special guest DJ on Real Southern Gospel. Lisa Williamson of the Williamsons, with that great big old hit song right now, Out of Harm's Way. That Lisa Williamson. So that's this weekend. And next month in August, it's going to be Willie Wynn of the Oak Ridge Quartet. And the month after that, how about Ronald Michael Payne? We know him as Mike Payne. Been a long time since you've seen or heard Mike Payne. He's going to be on Real Southern Gospel Radio, and I cannot wait. So mark it down. Let's see, the last Friday night of June, which is, I think, coming up, is it not? Or has it already come and gone? It's already come and gone. Primitives and the McCameys. Did you enjoy them? I forgot. I'm working morning, noon, or night. I don't know what month it is, let alone the day. But we've got some more real Friday Night Live Southern Gospel music coming your way the last Friday night of July. So hang tight for that. Les Butler and Friends, Saturdays and Sundays at noon Central, 1 Eastern. If you like bluegrass gospel music, that's what we do on Saturday and Sunday at noon Central, 1 Eastern. Champs Faves, his favorites at 1 o'clock on the second Saturday and Sunday of the month. And hopefully, maybe next month, it's going to be going every weekend. And I hope so, because, man, Chris's show has been fantastic. Matter of fact, our special guest tonight was his special guest this past show that he did. And I mean, he's knocking it out of the park. Then 2 o'clock on Saturdays, 40 years of making music and memories in the studio with yours truly, as I go over the last 44 years of productions I've been involved with. Everybody from the Palmetto State Quartet and Williamsons, and I can give you a big old long list. Produced a bunch of country and bluegrass folks doing gospel music, like Jimmy Fortune and Dwayne Allen of the Oaks, and I can go on. And we've just got a big vault of that kind of stuff. And we talk about some of the things that happen in the studio, some behind the scenes stuff, and get to play a lot of music that you've heard and a lot that you haven't heard that I think would bless you. So that's every Saturday at 2 Central, 3 Eastern on Real Southern Gospel Radio. Okay. All right. Don't forget the YouTube channel. Type in Real Southern Gospel and please subscribe to that. Don't forget, we've got 2 real events that's coming up that you just want to be a part of. Real event, our big old whopper of one. That's a free event. Now get this, when you hear who's going to be there, you're going to think it's $100 ticket, but it's free. I'm talking about Friday, September 30th there at Manchester, Kentucky at the Shaping Clay Jubilee. We're talking about the host group, Stevens Family Tradition, Killer Bluegrass, the Williamsons, Old Time Preachers, Primitive Quartet, Spencer Reunion. Free. Did I mention it's free? Free. Wow. What a Friday night. That's our very first ever real Southern Gospel event. Please be there. I want to flood Manchester, Kentucky to where they don't know what hit them. They just simply don't know what hit them. That's what I want to do. And then, mark this down. This is way on into next year, 2023, but March 10th, it'll be the first year anniversary, Real Southern Gospel Radio anniversary concert, and it will feature, among others, the Primitive Quartet. And so we've got others we'll be adding. Stay tuned to that. That is on March 10th of 2023. That will be in the Nashville, Murfreesboro area. So stay tuned for that. What else do I've got? Okay, one more thing, and then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes and have a big time. Some great music, great conversation. Still looking for some sponsors on Real Southern Gospel Radio for the National Days Singing News Fan Award vignettes that we do, the Singing News Charts bits, trivia, funnies, and Southern Gospel history. Is that you? Email me, Les, L-E-S, at butlermusicgroup.com, L-E-S at butlermusicgroup.com, or 615-218-0517, 218-0517. Okay? All right. That's enough carrying on. Let's get real. What do you say? We're going to bring on our guest, and we're going to play some music and have some conversation here that I do believe you are going to enjoy. So let me get some things moved up here. Let me mash a button or two. When I do, you're going to see Steve Perkins on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. There he is.
The magic of, I was going to say radio, but this isn't radio.
I don't know what this is, Steve, but it's something because I see myself on a TV screen here.
Man, I'm dating myself. I'm an old radio guy. This new technology is beyond me.
Weird.
Les, how are you?
I'm good, Steve. How are you doing?
Man, after all of that, I feel like it's my job now that you toss it to me and I should do the weather forecast or something.
Well, go ahead. If I can find a sponsor for it, we'll do the weather.
Well, that's it. It's not sponsored, so we're not going to do it. You know, people want to know the weather, then we need to find a sponsor.
Yeah.
I mean, that was always back in my day. If it wasn't sponsored, we didn't do it. We had to make money.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying not to lose as much as I've been losing. I'm not trying to make it. I'm trying not to lose as much.
Well, I always worked for people that needed to make a little money. So, you know, it was always, you know, we had to make money, had to pay that light bill, had to pay our DJs that minimum wage. Nobody made more than minimum.
No.
I mean, my first radio job, I made $3.35 an hour.
Yeah. That sounds about right for me.
Yeah.
When was that? Mine was in 78. When did you start?
80. My first full-time job was 84, 85.
Yeah.
Something like that. 85.
Yeah. We're in the same neck of the woods there.
Something like that. So
tell me about that Singing Americans hat you got on right there.
Like that? Well, you know, you're playing real Southern gospel music, so I thought I'd wear a vintage real Southern gospel hat. This is the real deal. I guess probably early 80s. This was their
early 80s hat.
Sensational Singing Americans album. That was the one that had Danny and Mike and Ed and Dwayne.
Yeah.
And
great record.
Who am I leaving out? Danny, Mike, Ivan, and Dwayne.
That was it.
Yeah, that's all 4 of them. That was that big, I won't say debut album because they had albums out before then, but that was that
particular configuration.
Yeah, that was that big one. That was that big one that charted Whiter Than Snow and Somebody Touched Heaven for Me. That was the big one.
That one. Danny's dad wrote Whiter Than Snow. Great song.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well, I asked you to. So I listened to your show that you did with Chris Champion, and you started talking about Cincinnati, and so my ears perked up because that's where my mentor Vic Clay brought me into Artist Recording Studio in 1978, and he started to show me how to produce real Southern gospel music. And so I've got a deep history there, was in the studio with him on many albums, QCA as well. But you were talking about Cincinnati and all of this, and Vic and all of these studios and the albums from then. And I said, man, I got to bring Steve on. We got to talk about this.
Well, you know, Cincinnati has its own history in just music, period. I mean, you know, Hank Williams recorded there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he recorded I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. I mean, that's where he recorded that. You know, you had King Records that recorded just every style of music. You know, I mean, everything from Grandpa Jones and you know, the Delmore brothers, you know, to James Brown. I mean, just any kind of music they recorded there at King. And
I don't think any of them did real Southern gospel, but I know who you're talking about.
Well, you know, Grandpa Jones and the Delmore brothers did because they were the Browns Ferry 4.
Oh yeah,
you know? Yeah,
that's legitimate for sure.
Yeah, that's legitimate. So they did, and also on King Records for at least one album, maybe 2 albums, were the Swanee River Boys.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. So that's real Southern gospel music.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So anyway, just like, you know, Detroit, you know, kind of had the music happening up there with the Funk Brothers, and LA has the Wrecking Crew and all that. There's that pocket of musicians and things in Cincinnati. And a lot of that had to do with that, you know, I hate to sound like a historian, but really it had to do with that post-war migration of
Mhm. Yes.
people bringing their music with them, wherever they came from in the
Yeah.
South, whatever their background, whether it was
Fact.
bringing that shape note singing and bringing their quartet music or their rockabilly music. You think of Lonnie Mack and his crew, that brought music to Cincinnati,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they had to have a place to record it. And so
Yeah.
recording studios, popped up all over the place.
Yeah.
And back when I was a young guy starting out in gospel music in my teens, there was a very healthy, uh, the word we use today would be community, I guess, of gospel music in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You had several stations that played gospel music,
Yeah.
real gospel music,
Mhm.
and so with that, you had folks that put groups together. We would call them local groups, part-time groups, whatever you want to call them,
Yeah.
and so then that created a demand for recording.
Yeah.
And so you had artists, which Carol Rawlings ended up taking ownership of it, but he didn't own it at first.
The Rhythm Masters.
The Rhythm Masters, it was in Landmark Baptist and all, they were all tied in together with that in the
Yeah.
Landmark Quartet.
Yeah.
That it was their enterprise. You had QCA, that was Frank Rule.
Yeah.
You had Jewel,
Yeah.
and then you had Wright Records, Carl Burkhart,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then over on my side of the river, you had Jordan Recording, Dennis Inslee,
Yeah.
and there's nobody that Dennis didn't know and didn't
Yeah.
play with. I
Yeah.
mean, he
A
played.
lot of bluegrass there too.
What's that?
A lot of bluegrass that he
A
did.
lot of bluegrass.
Yeah.
I guess one of the big things that Dennis is known for is that he was the guitar player for Brother Claude Ely that wrote "Ain't No Grave."
Ain't no grave. Yeah.
Yeah. Dennis was his guitar player.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's just this really big history of these recording studios, and so a lot of professional groups came through Cincinnati and recorded.
Yeah.
Probably the one that is most known for recording in Cincinnati are the Cathedrals, and
Who?
that's the Cathedrals. You might have heard of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was playing with you there. Steve.
Yeah, well, they were a little group from up in northern Ohio. They would come down to southern Ohio and make a few records every now and
You
then.
talking about these cathedrals right here?
Those Cathedrals right there. That album was recorded at Artist Recording.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Back. Let's go. You mentioned, I sent a note to you last night or this morning or something. It's all one and the same to me. I said, send me a few things that maybe we can play. And you mentioned a few different groups, a few different songs. So I've got a few of them peeled off. Let me start with that right now. I want to play a song, then we'll come back talking. But I think the very first song maybe the second song you mentioned is on this album right here. And I'm assuming you meant this cut, the "Oh, the Glory Did Roll."
Yeah. I just think it's a great quartet cut. I'm particularly fond of the bass playing on that. My bass playing mentor, Dennis Whitaker, is playing bass on it.
Yeah.
And the great thing is not only was that record recorded in Cincinnati, but it was pressed and manufactured in Cincinnati.
Right
Everything
there.
about it, right there in Cincinnati. This is a Cincinnati album. Everything about it.
Everything about that place there at that where the studio was, where they pressed it and all that. They had their offices in the studios. Oh man, I missed that. I went to Cincinnati not too long ago to that address, and it's all gone. And
Laughlin's really changed. Yeah, I was right there on Mill Street in Laughlin. Yeah,
I was depressed as all get out. But anyway, we still have their music from that place and that time, that era. So I'm going to play the Cathedrals right now. And you chose a great song, man.
Don't listen to the words and the lyrics. Listen to the bass playing. Dennis Whitaker and the Cathedrals, "So the Glory Did Roll," right here on real Southern gospel music.
Yeah, man. Live with Les. Y'all don't run off. We're going to have a big time here with Steve Perkins. Right now, the Cathedrals. Oh, the glory did roll.
I was kneeling one day, asking God to forgive me. I was deep in despair. Had no peace within. I surrender my all. I surrender my all unto Jesus the Savior. Bless his dear name.
Then the glory came down.
Then the glory came down. I was saved from sin. Oh, the glory did roll.
Oh, the glory did roll. I was happy and free.
I was happy and free. I had heard a sweet voice. I had heard a sweet voice speak pardon to me. Speak pardon to me.
Such a wonderful joy.
Such a wonderful joy.
I was given within. When the Savior in love.
When the Savior in love saved me from all sin. Saved me from all sin. I will praise his dear name.
I will praise his dear name
for the wonderful victory
of my soul
and the joy in my heart.
and the joy in my heart
all along the way. I am longing to see.
I am longing to see
heaven's glorious city,
streets of blue gold, and to hear the Lord call.
And to hear the Lord call,
come and live for
me,
come and live for me.
Oh, the glory did roll.
Oh, the glory did roll. I was happy and free.
I had heard a sweet voice.
I had heard a sweet voice
speak pardon to me. Speak pardon to me.
Such a wonderful joy.
Such a wonderful joy.
I was given within. When the Savior in love.
When the Savior in love saved me from all sin. Oh, the glory did roll.
Oh, the glory did roll. I was happy and free. I had heard a sweet voice.
I had heard a sweet voice speak pardon to me. Speak pardon to me. Such a wonderful joy.
Such a wonderful joy.
I was given within
when the Savior in love saved me from a sin.
Saved me from a sin.
I love when Glenn just took it up a notch there at the end. That's the Cathedrals. Oh, the glory did roll. Going to bring back our special guest, Steve Perkins, in just a moment. Want to say hey to a few folks. Want to say hello to Megan Edgeworth, Patty Graham from Ohio, Shirley Valines, Nathan Morris from up in Indiana. Let's see, Daryl Sheely. We got Florida represented. Prayed for you today, brother Daryl. Got your message. Happy to do so. Trust that everything is working out and God's involved in getting things fixed up. Mike Keller, my friend from Alabama. Good to see you, brother Mike. Bless you. Nathan Lane there from West Virginia. Scott Edwards from Missouri. One of them's from Oklahoma, I think. Good to see you, Scott. Working on some of your songs tomorrow in the studio, just so you know, got a tracking session and going to get some steel guitar cranked up on some tunes for you. And the Lighthouse, as I understand it, I got to get that ready. So we're doing that in the studio. Got a big team of great Nashville A+ pickers. Get ready to do it for you. Chris Champion. Oh, come on now. We'll have to get Chris involved here in a little bit. There's my Aunt Sue, Faith and Hope Sisters. Was with them and their parents and their church family this past Sunday in Georgia. Had a wonderful time. Great, great gals. God bless you all. Going to bring you on, Lord willing, next month. We're going to have a youth night and you're going to be leading the parade. Hey, Brother Terry, good to see you. Got to watch about 6 or 7 minutes of your program a while ago. Always great. Man, you were preaching up a storm, doing wonderful stuff. Michael Kroom, good to see you. Hello, Robin, good to see you. And Ben Russell, good to see you. And who else? Heather Tews, yeah, good to see you. A great Dad Lane song, says Nathan. That's right. Yep, that was good stuff. Yes, Chris. Oh, we'll talk about that in a minute. Good to see you, Brother Les. Yes, Mama and Papa Lewis are doing good up here in Indiana. Good. Tell them I said hello. I sent a note to your grandmother the other day on Facebook, but I didn't hear back from her. So tell them I said hello. All right, let's get Steve back in here. Steve Perkins.
Man, you're talking about Glenn, though. What about Mark? He just sung his head off on that. Yeah,
but I think the old man outdid him with that one line at the end. I'm for the old man because I'm an old man.
Well, I understand. I'm getting there too, but I tell you, Mark just on that last course, he just killed it.
Mark kills everything, man. He's. I reckon I've voted him for favorite baritone for the last literally 40 years. I mean,
Mark,
who can touch him? And there's a bunch of great ones. My goodness. Even I sing baritone and I don't vote for me. How can I do that? Because I got to get Mark involved. He can sing me at the table.
Mark is in my will.
Well, talk to me about that.
Yeah, he gets my bass guitar. If
Really?
if I go first and he remains.
Oh, come on. When we play that by the cathedrals, that's a good one.
That's an old Red Foley. That's where George got that.
Yeah.
But anyway, if I go first and Mark remains, he gets my Music Man.
Well, how cool. What kind of a guitar is it?
It's a Music Man bass. It's
Nice.
it's not an Ernie Ball. It's a Leo Fender, and
Nice.
and Mark gets it.
Nice.
The one that he had with the cathedrals was stolen, and
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
Wow.
anyway,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he gets mine.
Man.
Yeah, he's played it several times. He really loves it. So he gets mine. And it's seriously, it's in my will that Mark Trammell.
That's serious stuff.
It's my bass guitar. If he's still around and kicking, and I go first. So,
What about that? That's a very cool thing. I applaud you for that.
I need to say, you mentioned Ben Russell. Need to say hi to Ben. Let me
Put it up there.
This was an album that Vic did. I don't know how to do this. I'm a radio guy.
Yeah, I understand.
Anyway,
You're okay.
Okay. This is me back in, I don't know, 84 or so.
Okay.
David Griffith traveled with Ernie Haas and Signature Sound.
Yep.
Was our bass player. And
Yep.
this is Ben Russell. And he was our tenor singer.
Okay.
Ben is the person that gets all the blame for getting me in my first gospel group and for putting me on the road. And so, Ben, glad that you're tuning in tonight. Glad to have you.
Well, let's get to this other cathedral song that you mentioned, and then I'm going to try to get another special guest involved with us for a few minutes. But you mentioned this album, and I guess you're talking about the title cut from it that you had mentioned, "Sunshine and Roses."
Yeah, that was recorded at Artist also.
Yep.
And I'm not sure who the bass player was on this because Vic would use sometimes he would call
Mike
in Tom. Well, Mike wasn't playing on this one. It was either Dennis or it was Tom Baker. Now,
Tom, Mike Scharf played on a lot of the stuff that I did there in Cincinnati.
Yeah, he played on a lot in the late 70s and through the 80s, but a lot of that early cathedral stuff like that was either Dennis or it was Tom Baker. Tom and Mark Trammell and I talked about this a lot. Tom would also engineer, and he would play while he was engineering. So he would be plugged in and he would be sitting at the control board, playing.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if this is because there's no instrumental credits on it. So I'm not sure really if it's Tom or if it's Dennis, but I like it because, it's got a bass guitar intro on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a killer bass guitar intro on it. And you just don't hear many Southern gospel songs, real or fake, either kind, that has a bass guitar intro. And it's just got a really great groove to it. It just has a really just bebop. And once again, it was recorded in Cincinnati. It's just a great arrangement. You can really tell Vic Clay's touch on this song. This is the type of song that you could tell they brought a song into the studio and Vic said, here's what I think we can do with this song. I mean, you could just tell it that they did not bring the arrangement to Vic. They brought the song and then Vic said, here's how you're going to sing it. And
it sounds like the 70s sitcom.
Yeah.
It sounds like a 70s sitcom.
Yeah, it's very fresh. I mean, it's got the background vocals on it, the females. Yeah. I mean, it's just loaded. It's
the girl singers.
Yeah, and then Chuck Rich plays that killer steel lick that it's just kind of a whiny, distorted type of thing that's not that country kick lick. It's a different type of whiny type. You'll hear it here in the song, But it's just a unique song. I really like it. Sunshine and Roses. Big song for the cathedrals back then.
Here we go. You're listening to Live with Les. My buddy Steve Perkins.
You clap your head to it.
Great music.
I used to sing a sad song filled with gray skies and rain. I used to sing of no future, sad days with only pain. Now as I look back upon them, seems to me that I find they were days in the valley. Now I've left them all behind. Sunshine and roses, only a thorn now and then, whose streets warm breezes, since Jesus took my hand. Green meadows and blackbird, hope within a crumbling tide. And now it's sunshine and roses, only a thorn now and then. I never miss the old ways, yet think back from time to time, to those days of no purpose, when my life had little rhyme. Though the waters drunk me bitter, they but sweeter make the taste of one drop of God's blessing, blessing given by His grace. And now it's sunshine and roses, only a thorn now and then, whose streams warm breezes, since Jesus took my hand. Green meadows and blackbird, hope within a crumbling tide. And now it's sunshine and roses, only a thorn now and then. And now it's sunshine and roses,
Vic Clay, this is your buddy Les Butler.
Hey, how you doing, bud?
Well, I'm on the air live, and I've got a friend here with me. His name is Steve Perkins. I'm going to bring him up here. Now, we just got through playing Sunshine and Roses by the Cathedrals.
Yeah.
And we were talking
remember
about
that.
We were talking about it. And Steve said that he bet that the Cathedrals brought that song to you, and it didn't sound like that at all as they brought it to you. But then you did your thing, and it turned out the way it turned out. Now, is that how it went?
That's kind of how it went. Yeah. Mac Taunton wrote that song.
Yes, Mac wrote it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think Chris Lee came up with that little galloping thing in the first part of it. You know, that boom, 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 that thing.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, Vic, was that Dennis Whitaker or Tom Baker on bass?
Tom
You know
was the
what? I don't
Tom was the
remember.
engineer on it because it says he engineered it, but it doesn't give the
Yeah.
player credit.
Well, if he was engineering, he was probably playing bass
Well, there you
because
go.
he played bass and he engineered a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Steve was saying. Steve knows what he's talking about, like
Yeah.
I knew he did.
Yeah, he's pretty well informed.
Well, I remember.
Was you living in Cincinnati then?
What's that?
Was you living in Cincinnati back in the middle 70s?
Yeah, the first time I ever played in a studio, I was in a group back then, and we recorded there at Artists with you. I was the bass player. We had a piano player, and you and
What
Kenny,
group was that?
a group called the Miami Valley Boys.
Okay.
And we did a record with you at Artist, and it was you and Kenny and Chuck played on it, and Jim Krause engineered.
Right.
And I remember you looked at me and you said, son, and you looked at Kenny and you said, play your kick. And he played his kick. He said, if he's not playing, you shouldn't be playing.
Oh boy.
Sounds like Vic.
Hey. Yeah, hey. Real talkative, lippy guy, wasn't I?
Hey, listen, that served me well. When I did with the Bishops, when we did that live album with that orchestra, John Gardner complimented me 1,000 times for staying in the pocket and playing with his kick.
Yeah, I know John. I've worked with John several times.
Man, he's easy to play with. Easy to play with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
but
Vic, I just figured we'd go right to what they call the horse's mouth. You being the horse in this particular story.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I've been called worse.
Well, hey, are you going to be able to in the next few weeks come back and be with me in the studio and me and you pal around for about 4 or 5 hours and get a bunch of your old vinyl out and
I will.
have a big time?
I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
well, I'll definitely have to tune in for that because I've got stacks and stacks of vinyl that you played on, Vic. I mean, it's just I still, I ended up, like I said, played on that orchestra album and played on some #1 songs and things, but I still love pulling out that custom record and seeing my name with you and Chuck Rich and Kenny and
I guess Chuck's still playing.
well, I don't know. I don't live in Cincinnati any longer. I know that.
I think he is. I talk with Dennis Hensley every once in a while.
Well, I was getting ready to say that I know that he and Dennis were inducted into the Northern Kentucky Musicians Hall of Fame at the same time a few years back.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That Hall of Fame must have lost my phone number.
Are you from Kentucky? You ain't from Kentucky.
My mom and dad's from Moorhead and Olive Hill. Don't
Now,
tell
see,
me Kentucky.
I grew up right down the road from Dennis's place, right there on the same road with it. So I used to pester Dennis to death. I cut a few records with him too. So cut a few at QCA. I'm like most gospel artists in Cincinnati. There's not anybody we didn't cut a record with. Cut a few at Jewel with Rusty.
Rusty York.
Hi,
Yeah.
you've reached.
Oh, look at there. Vic, I messed up, buddy. Somebody tried to call in and mess me up. I want to try to get you back on the phone.
So I thought maybe that was Tom Baker. So we were right about that.
Vic's gone, so I'm going to try to get Vic back. I'll tell you what I'll do while I'm hunting Vic.
You do that.
I want to play another song that you mentioned in your text to me today.
Let's do.
I'm going to play the Hopper Brothers and Connie, and it's my favorite song from the Hopper Brothers and
Okay,
Connie.
now this one is Dennis Whitaker.
Okay, all right.
If it's home is where the heart is.
That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Yes, this one is Dennis Whitaker. We're talking shop here. People don't care who these bass players are, but I do.
You care? Yeah, I care.
I care.
Yeah. All right, here we
These
go.
guys had a good thing happening in Cincinnati at one time.
They did. Listen to that right there. That's right there.
Junior Bennett on fiddle. I think.
The Hoppers, home is where the heart is, here on Live with Les. We'll try to hunt my friend Vic Clay down. I lost him somewhere around here. I don't know where he is. I'll find him.
For years I've heard a saying that home is where the heart is, and many people want to go back home. Oh, but I've had a longing to go to be with Jesus, and I could be with him. I never walk to Rome. So if home is where the heart is, then I have a blessed assurance. Where I'm going will be a paradise. Down here I've lived so many places, and I'm tired of always moving. But I'm going where my heart has been since I gave it to Christ. Now if home is where the heart is, then I know my home's with Jesus. My heart is longing to be by his side. Down here I have no earthly treasure, and I seek no earthly pleasure, but my Jesus said that I could have a mansion in the sky. So if home is where the heart is, then I have a home with Jesus. Where I'm going will be a paradise. Down here I've lived so many places, and I'm tired of always moving. But I'm going where my heart has been since I gave it to Christ. Yes, I'm going where my heart has been since I gave it to Christ.
Oh, yeah. Home is where the heart is. The Hoppers here on Live with Les. Let me get everybody back up and running here. Whoop, I need to hush them for that. And here we go. Let me do this. Vic, are you there?
I am here.
Steve, are you there?
I'm there. Hey, check those liner notes and see if that was Junior Bennett playing fiddle.
No, it wasn't.
Paul
It was
Patterson.
Paul Patterson.
Paul Patterson. Okay.
Yep. We hadn't mentioned Junior or Paul yet. And man, I think those are two of the most talented cats that were in Cincinnati. Vic, what do you think?
Yeah. Paul, he played mandolin and banjo and fiddle.
Yep.
He actually was in the symphony orchestra.
Yeah. Yep.
His wife was first chair violinist, I think, there in Cincinnati. Him and her both played in the Cincinnati Symphony.
Well, Steve, what else you got to say to our buddy Vic here before we let Vic go back to his evening, and you and I will play another song or two and then call it a night. But you've got it on the phone, so go ahead and make hay with it.
Well, all I got to say is that he influenced a generation or two of musicians in Cincinnati. That's for sure. And I'm one of them. I'm not a guitar player. I'm a bass player. But I grew up learning how to play by those records, and Dennis Whitaker taught me how to read the number system, and I'm sure he learned that from Vic. And I wouldn't have spent 8 or 9 years, however long it was, on the road with the Bishops, and got to play on TNN, and got to do a little studio work in Nashville, and travel the country and live my dream if it hadn't been for somebody like Vic Clay assembling a group of musicians in Cincinnati and giving folks a chance, and even let me sit in and play on a record with him one time when I was about 20, 21 years old. I mean, it made a huge difference in my life.
Well, I want to add that Vic, you didn't just touch Cincinnati, sir. You touched America. And
yeah, absolutely.
And you even got way up north where I was from in Chicago. And
wow.
And I'll
you guys are gonna make me cry.
I mean, listen, people, I worked in radio for years before I ever went out on the road. And, everybody talks about Larry Goss and his influence, and rightfully so. I mean, we can't take away from that. Mm-hmm. But I tell you what, Vic Clay produced some of the absolute finest cathedral records that the cathedrals ever did. I mean, he doesn't have to take a backseat to Larry Goss. Never, ever. Period.
That's a fact.
And that's just true.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to
appreciate that. That makes me feel, well, I feel unworthy, but it makes me feel thankful that I could do something, contribute.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I played on Nashville now, and Vic, some of those guys played with some of the top players and musicians in the country, played with Elvis and things, but I pull out that record and I see my name next to yours, and man, I'm just as proud of that as I was for being the first bass player to be a finalist for the Anthony Berger Award. No bass player had ever done that before I did, and I'm as proud of just having known that I played at Artist Recording with you on a record one time. That's one of the highlights of my professional career.
That makes me feel so good. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wish you would have stuck around. I would have liked to have replaced Mike Scharf and Dennis Whitaker and Tom Baker. I'd like to be your A guy.
Well, sounds like you probably could have.
Well, Whit had that thing where he liked to hit that 6-5 going into his 4, and I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have stole his lick. I would have found my own lick.
Well, everybody else stole his lick because I hear 654 every time I turn around.
That was his lick, man. I'm telling you. You heard it all through that Hoppers cut just then, and he played it to death on some cathedral cuts too. I mean, that was his thing. Everybody had their thing. I mean that Greens album you all did when Eldridge Fox and Anthony Berger came up, and it was you and Mike Scharf. I mean that's one of the best Greens albums ever.
Yes.
It was special.
Yeah,
it really was.
Anthony Berger told me he said, man, he said those guys, he said they just wouldn't play like they do in Nashville. And I said, I know, and they're proud of that. He said they don't want to play a straight 4 or whatever. I said, man, Mike Scharf's one of the best jazz players you've ever played with, Anthony. You have no idea how good that cat is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Both him and Kenny both were jazzers,
Oh man, I sat at the Blue Wisp and watched Scharf play more than he knows. I mean, it's just, and that's why I was telling him. I said on purpose. I said they didn't want to sound like a bunch of country players. I said I mean, Vic always. I mean, I could tell, what came out of Jewel, what came from your shop, what came out of QCA. You had a very sophisticated sound that came from anything that you touched. It was very different. Rusty, you could tell he had that Lonnie Mack, that rockabilly influence happening over there at Jewel.
Yeah.
And he used a lot of those players, like Dumpy and all those that he kind of brought up, and so it had a different clientele and a different vibe, a different groove over there, and you cultivated. You cultivated your own sound, and it was it just
we loved it.
Interesting. I don't know how in the world Jim Krause EQ'd that board to get that rim shot. I've never heard anybody get a rim shot with the sound that he got.
He got a great drum sound. Of course, he's been a drummer. Jim was an ex-drummer, so he knew the instrument very well.
Whoa, I've got somebody behind me here.
Vic, I don't know if you're watching the video or not, but Steve's at another location, and behind him, Mark Bishop just showed up and started and is carrying on behind him.
Singer-songwriter Mark Bishop.
Steve, did you before the show started? Did you go spring him out of jail?
Well, no. Mark lives about 150 yards from me, so You don't ever leave the Bishops. You just always kind of stay attached to them. So my grandkids call him Uncle Mark. Hang on, Les, we'll get him on.
Hey, Vic.
But Vic, it's been a pleasure to talk to you again, and thank you for the influence you had on me.
It's my pleasure.
If you ever get a chance, download the Bishops Chapter 10 live, and let me know what you think of that Cincinnati bass player on there.
Okay, I will do that.
Steve Black is on with us, and he said, recorded my first album at Artist Studio with Vic Clay producing. You got a bunch of folks. Man, you've touched so many people, Vic. Listen, it's late. I want you to go get some rest. I'll call you here in a week or two, and we'll set another date. And you're going to come in here, and we're going to stack up the vinyl and have a big time. Okay?
Thank you, Steve.
All right, Vic.
Thanks, Les.
Bye-bye.
It's all mine.
You
too. Okay. So, Mark, I just asked Steve before the show started here, did he run over to the jail and spring you?
Yeah, he did. Actually, it's prison break.
How are you?
Ernest T. Bass. There's no jail that can hold me.
Ain't no jail ever gonna hold me. Ain't no. Wait, wasn't that a song from somewhere?
Yeah, it was the #1 song for us back in the day.
Hey, somebody told me something today. Your name came up in a conversation.
Did he owe him money?
No, it had to. Lisa Williams. Yeah, Lisa Williamson.
Oh, I sang with them over in Oklahoma this past weekend. She's got an idea for a song. We've been going back and forth.
That's it. I've got a group, Fields of Grace, who's on here actually listening tonight. They're going to record that, but you're going to fix up some of the stuff there, and y'all going to collaborate, make a hit.
Is that what I'm going to do?
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
Well, she sent me the thing. She said, I'm just not completely happy with it. She said, of course, because she told me the original story that went with it, and the song wasn't staying exactly with the story as she heard it. And she said, I'd like to fix that, but I listened to the song. She's done such a great job. I don't know if I can bring anything to it, but I told her I'd listen to it. So really, I listened to it, and I sent her a text back and said, I think you should just make it its own thing and not worry about sticking to the story. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, we're looking at a song.
Okay.
If she needs a word that rhymes with trod, I know a couple. I know a couple that rhymes with trod.
Plod, and
yeah. So tell her to give me a call.
Okay,
I'll help her out with that.
Well, Mark, I'll give you till 9:00 tonight to go ahead and finish off that song and get it to me. Get a demo up and get it to me.
All right, I'll see you then. Bye.
Hey, come on, let's at least let them watch the Reds and Cubs.
Hey, that's what we're going to do after this. I have to work in the office, but I'm going to have it on.
Right. Yeah, he's a Cubs fan.
Let's see, Mark. I've got
as good a year as the Reds are.
That's what I told him. We're playing for last place this week.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah. Man, we're a member of that same league.
Yeah. If there was football has their Super Bowl, the Cubs and Reds would be in the toilet bowl if they had one of those in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. It's been rough, but you don't want to be a fair weather fan, so you stick with them through the lean years. So it means all the more when you have a great year.
Mark, listen, it took the Cubs 108 years
to
win a World Series.
It was tough those first few years, wasn't it?
They did.
That was good.
They did it when I was 54. So literally the last half of that 108 years, I was with them.
Yeah, that's pretty
Way to go.
suffering.
Way to go.
But that was, I'm giving you an A. That's a great comeback you did. Those years, like I was there 108 years ago. That's funny. That's good. All right, Mark. If you want to weigh in on this, I'm going to play another song, Steve, before we go. One of the other songs that you told me that you liked and wanted me to play. And I think I have the right version. I maybe not. This is, you said about the second version where they did a redo and all that. Is this the version you're talking about from Jerry?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, what they did, there's two versions of that album. It's basically the same cut. The Lesters provided a lot of this, the playing on it. They cut that over at the Lesters studio in St. Louis.
Yeah.
But then when they signed with QCA, when QCA decided we're going to get big time in the gospel business and they launched their label, they did some orchestration. Charles Novell, Rob Novell's dad, did the orchestration, and Chuck Rich. Gosh, he's the star of tonight's show. Chuck is.
Yeah.
I mean, Vic talked about him. We've talked about him. He did some steel overdubs. They did some remixing of the album, so it sounded some remastering, some remixing, and also it sounded a little bit better. The first album, the first release, they were really pushing "Say I Do." They weren't pushing "I'll See You in the Rapture." And then the other part of it too is, of course, that this song was written by Charles Feltner.
Yeah.
And you don't grow up playing gospel music in Cincinnati, Dayton area, not knowing who Charles Feltner is.
Right.
You know, years and years and years with the Southern Airs. I mean, when I was growing up, there were. You leaving, Mark? Yeah, man. All right. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, hold on a minute. Come here.
Hey, he said, hold on, Mark. Hang on.
Here, tell him to come back for a minute.
He said, come back for a minute. Anyway, you don't. When I was growing up and a kid, there were two groups that were really kind of on a professional level. They just didn't leave their day jobs and sing. And that was the Crownsmen from Cincinnati and the Southern Airs from Dayton.
Crownsmen, I liked them. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And both groups have had members of their groups go on to sing professionally. Jamie Regal left the Crownsmen to sing tenor, Dixie Melody Boys. Kelly Back was a member of the Southern Airs band, played for the Hensons, Gold City, studio musician extraordinaire. So anyway, you think of Jerry and the Goffs, and you can't help but think of "I'll See You in the Rapture." And of course, Bill Phelps Bill Phelps was a member of the Rhythm Masters. Bill
Dykes.
Bill Dykes, standing there on the end. A longtime member of Jerry and the Goffs, and he also worked at QCA and later worked at Artists too. You know, this was their signature song throughout the 70s. I mean, they just wore the song out. And what's funny is that on the initial release of this album, they thought the hit was going to be "Say I Do." And then when "I'll See You in the Rapture" took off, they completely repackaged this album and really started pushing "I'll See You in the Rapture." And that's why it says featuring "I'll See You in the Rapture." Yeah. So this is the song.
Give Mark your bud real quick. I want to ask him something. Then
he wants to ask you a question real quick. So go ahead and plug in and see what Les has to say.
Can you see the album? Can you see the album jacket?
Yeah, I can.
Do you still have that suit?
I do. I wore it to prom. I got to wear it to prom 3 years in a row because I failed 2 years.
I wore one similar.
And then
I wore the light blue.
Actually,
version.
I take that back. The first 2 years I wore that suit, and then the last one I just gave up and wore the dress. After that, they passed me.
They said, "Get out of here."
They just said, "Get out of here."
Yeah.
Okay, go watch the game.
All right. Love you, buddy.
All right, here we go. I'm going to play "I'll See You in the Rapture" from Jerry and the Goffs. This is the redo version, and you're going to like it. This is good stuff. Jerry and the Goffs live with Les, with me, Les, and Steve Perkins. If you know it, sing along with them. I'll see you in the rapture.
If we never meet again on this earth, my precious friend, if to God you have been true, and you've lived above all sin, then for us there'll be a meeting. Friends and loved ones will be greeting. I'll see you in the rapture some sweet day. Oh yes, I'll see you in the rapture. I'll see you in the rapture. I'll see you at that meeting in the air. There with our blessed Savior, we'll live and reign forever. I'll see you in the rapture some sweet day. Friends and loved ones, let me say that there'll surely come a day. Oh, the Lord's gonna come again to catch his waiting bride away. So get ready now to meet him with a hallelujah, greet him. I'll see you in the rapture some sweet day. Oh yes, I'll see you in the rapture. I'll see you in the rapture. I'll see you at that meeting in the air. There with our blessed Savior, we'll live and reign forever. I'll see you in the rapture some sweet day. Oh yes, I'll see you in the rapture. I'll see you in the rapture. I'll see you at the meeting in the air. There with our blessed Savior, we'll live and reign forever. I'll see you in the rapture some sweet day.
Oh, yeah, Jerry the Goffs, I'll see you in the rapture. Before we bring Steve back on to say goodbye, I want to do a couple things here real quick. You see there on the bottom of your screen, Les the Old Vinyl Vicar. He has a sponsor that sponsors all of our vinyl airplay. And there you go. There's where you need to go. Use the promo code REALSG for Southern Gospel, of course. REALSG, you'll get 10% off. Go to Exodus, then the dash mark, OutdoorsUSA.com. Exodus-OutdoorsUSA.com, or call 615-273-0314. And if you're out there working in the shop in the summer or out in the fields and you're doing and you need a shop apron to beat everything, this thing right here, you will your grandkids will be wearing this. You're not going to rip it apart and tear it apart. I mean, it is as solid can get. And looky here what it says on the top. Everything in the store made in the USA. Folks, let's support Made in the USA. Would you do that? My cousin Jerry and Alita, they got everything there on location, and you'll get it mailed out the day that you order. You call them tomorrow or go on the website and buy it tomorrow. It's in the mail to you tomorrow. What about that? That's how it happens with them. And it's real deal stuff. Everything made in the USA. 10% off. Go REALSG in the promo code. 10% off. Exodus-OutdoorsUSA.com or call 615-273-0314. Let me say hello to Elizabeth. She would like to hear Terry Carter sing "I'll See You in the Rapture." Boy, Jerry did a great job on that. So I miss Jerry. I still have a phone message on my phone that he left for me about a month before he died, maybe 2 months, somewhere 4 to 8 weeks before he died. And I can't, and I will not take that message off of my phone. Daryl Sheely, our poor cubbies, 5.5 years into a rebuilding, only 102.5 years to go. Daryl, sir, you are right. Oh, Lord, help us. Mike Smith, Shirley Valines, good to see you. Let's see, we got Loretta Hall, good to see you. Chris Champion, watching real baseball. Phillies Braves. Yeah, that's good. Real baseball. Chris and Chris's brother and some other family. You had a bunch of folks that joined us. Let me get Steve back up here. Steve, let me get you up there. You there?
I'm here. Yeah, Chris is watching the Braves.
And Chris and his brother and a bunch of his other family, those been watching us. Yeah, Neil and I missed some of the other names, but you had a whole bunch of champions.
And hello to Loretta Hall. She lives just a few miles from us in beautiful Waco, Kentucky.
Brian Fusen said, "Was that the Representatives?"
Brian Fusen. Hello, Brian. No, that wasn't the Representatives. That was Jerry and the Golfs.
Let me see what else we got here. Steve Black says Dumpy was on our album. And Dumpy never played on any of our stuff.
Dumpy played on a lot of albums.
He did. He didn't play on
Great piano player. Great piano player.
Hello, Dorothy Lewis. Just talked to your grandson there a minute ago. Said hello to him. And tell your hubby I said hello. Love you all. God bless you up there in Indiana. Mike Keller, somebody preach. Well, doesn't look like there's going to be any preaching tonight, brother. Tonight's just been reminiscing and having a good time listening.
What is it your banner says? Memories, memorabilia, and ministry?
Yeah, and ministry.
Well, see, I'm a bass player, so you've got to carry the ministry part.
What you're saying is you're a bass player, so I gotta
deliver. Carry the ministry. Yeah,
you're wrong.
I'm just a bass player, you know. A little Southern gospel joke there for you, you know.
Well, I tell you what, I'll go ahead and jump in on a little bit on that last song. I hope that everybody that's watching will all see you in the rapture one day. I hope that's the case. It's just because you go to church every Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, you can go to every camp meeting and every revival. You can go to every singing. You can know every preacher from here to California and back. Your mom and dad can be church members. Your daddy could be the preacher, and everybody could be the deacon in your family and still be lost. Because it's not about them, it's about your relationship with Christ. So if you're going to be with the redeemed, the saved, myself, Steve Perkins, Brother Mark Bishop that was on here a while ago, and those who are maybe Mark.
Maybe Mark. Don't stretch it there. Come on.
If you're going to be with us in the rapture, ye must be born again. It boils down to that. And so, amen. There you go, there, Brother Mike Keller. There's your little dose, sir. Amen.
Wide is the way and narrow is the way.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
I hope we'll see us in the rapture, be with us one day. And you know what, Steve? I think that day is just around the corner.
As it was in the days of Noah.
So, yes,
absolutely. We're seeing it.
Amen, brother. That's the truth. Amen. Joe Belcher, love our Kentucky friends. Amen.
Well, we love you.
Yeah. There's a Kentucky, man, is a great Southern gospel state. I mean, for crying out loud, the Hensons were there for years. The Happy Goodmans, Madisonville. Hello. How about the Crabb family there in Beaver Dam? Of course, the Bishops.
The Rambos.
Yes, sir, Bob. We can go on and on, man. Thank God for Kentucky.
Listen, and we were talking about Cincinnati. We talked about the recording, but before I say goodbye, and I need to, I would be amiss. You could put an incredible all-star group of people from just the Cincinnati area of people that have, we'll just say, professional gospel music.
Yeah.
I mean, bass singers like Buddy Lyle, Ray Burdett, his brother Mike Burdett. We talked about Jamie Regal, tenor singer. People probably think of him more now as an evangelist, but man, what a tenor singer he was. Bill Dykes, I mean, fantastic singer. Piano player, Bill Phelps. I can now get his name correct. The late Bill Phelps played with the Rhythm Masters, played with the Hemp Hills for a little while. People forget that. Donnie Lewis, great drummer, played Mid-South Boys.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, just Rob Novell, he and I could tag team on bass guitar. He could play Thursday, I'd play Friday, play Saturday. I'd take off Sunday, let him play Sunday too. He would just have to split his check with me. But I mean, seriously, just the talent in Cincinnati is just tremendous. When I was growing up, the groups in that area, there were people that really could have sung professionally. They just didn't, for whatever reasons, family reasons, had jobs that they just didn't want to leave. I mean, but just fantastic talent. And just and I think that's one reason why the recording industry in Cincinnati flourished for so long, because you had so many groups that sang in the area that they could support that many studios and the pressing plants. I mean, just not studios, but artists. Carroll had his own pressing plant over there. Wright had their own pressing plant. QCA had their own pressing plant.
Yeah.
So I mean, you had 3 pressing plants, mainly pressing probably 80% gospel music most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
Each other.
It's just phenomenal, the amount of music that was coming out of Cincinnati and the musicians that were able to make a living, recording predominantly gospel music. I mean, just amazing, Yeah. So I was very blessed. And you were mentioning your big shindig going on in Manchester, Kentucky.
Yeah.
We'll have to do another show one day, and we may have to do 2 or 3, just talk about my radio days and then my bishop days if you want to.
Okay.
But I got my job with the bishops. I was hosting the Trading Post on a radio station in Manchester, Kentucky.
Okay.
And I got a call from the bishops and asking me on the Trading Post if I would want to play bass guitar for them on the Trading Post.
What about that? You worked yourself out of one job into another. How about that?
So that's a true story. I mean, it things that are just like Ripley's Believe It or Not, strange but true. You pray and God, are you ever, and opening the door for the right group. I auditioned for other groups and turned down some jobs that people would say, you turned down that job and that job? Well, yeah, I did, because it just didn't seem right. Didn't feel right, wasn't the right time or whatever. And the job I got was the job that was offered to me on the Trading Post.
Yeah. That's good.
So, but anyway, I've had a
baseball game. I'm not too far behind you.
Yeah. I've had a large time tonight. So
I've enjoyed it, man. We'll have to do it again. And we've got, again, so much vinyl. And whenever I bring Vic on, I'll let you know so you can tune in. But I'll do an expanded show with Vic, and we will dig into a vault of stuff with him.
Man,
and he'll give all kinds of behind the scenes stories, and you'll love it. So I'll tell you when that's happening.
Man, it's just been Les, it's always great to just be on with you, but then to be on with Vic. He really is a gospel music treasure. I mean, I don't know if people realize this, but the man is a gospel music treasure.
That's a fact. So
it was a pleasure and an honor just to be on with him. And that touched my heart. It really did.
Good. I hope it did. I was hoping I can get him on, because I thought that would bless you. So I'm glad it happened. Yeah. Amen. Thank you.
All right.
Bless you later. All right. Bye-bye. Oh, Steve Perkins there. We had a good time talking Cincinnati gospel music and played some great vinyl there. And that was wonderful. Wonderful. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And, well, let's see. I guess we'll just say goodbye. Lord willing, we'll be back. I think in July, we're going to be doing Thursday nights, not Tuesday night. So we've got some special things lined up. Probably going to be coming at you from the James D. Vaughn Festival one night, and maybe from Shadow Valley on a Friday night. So we may have some extra Live with Les's in the month of July. So be watching for that. And I guess that's about it. Please give a holler to all those folks that are one of our sponsors and help us and are a blessing to us. Please do that. I tell you what, something else you could do, if you would be so kind. You could, let me see, go right. No, don't do that. Right here. Here's the phone number. If you would just record a message about if you listen to Real Southern Gospel Radio, what that station means to you and the traditional music that we play that goes back to the 50s up through today, but all traditional stuff. Would you give us a message? As a matter of fact, if you have a request that you would like to be played on the radio, so long as it fits the format and the music committee has approved it, that we'll be happy to play it. Matter of fact, if you leave a message, we'll even let you introduce the song on the radio. So call 800-360-5051, 800-360-5051, and record a message. Give me your name if you don't mind, city and state where you're from. Don't give me your whole address and all that, just city and state, and what you think about Real Southern Gospel Radio. And if you haven't downloaded the app, please do so. Go to the store, go to the Apple Store or to your Google Store and download it. You see this little logo up there in the corner right about there? That's what it looks like when you type in Real Southern Gospel. It'll look like that. Download it. It's absolutely free, and you can listen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Can't beat that, can you? All right. Well, God bless you all, Lord willing. We will see you next month. You can go to Live with Les, and there'll be a graphic up here in the next day or two that'll give you the schedule that we have for July. And in addition to what you see on that schedule, we'll probably be doing some impromptu shows from some very cool locations, and bringing some of your favorite artists to you on the Live with Les show, live from the event itself. Got a couple of those that'll work out in July. So be tuning in, okay? God bless you all. Lord willing, we will see you next week.